岁月、环境、规则 ，LPL 在不断改变。6年中，有许多人问我，你为什么还在坚持？这局游戏对你究竟意味着什么？
全军出击！
我见过最美的风景，也听过最热烈的欢呼。为了所有这些，我愿意付出一切。
这局游戏是一段旅途，有人中途停留，也有人会做到最后，而终点只不过是另一个起点。
50的血量，50的血量！
我不懂那么多是非曲折，这局游戏赢就对了。
이번 게임의 낭만은 0부터 100처럼 무명에서부터 이름을 날리는 것이다.
我从来都没有后悔过自己走过的路。 这局游戏的魅力就在于创造奇迹。
많은 사람들이 전설을 보는 것에 열광하지만 다른 사람들이 그 뒤에서 흘리는 땀에 대해서는 잘 보지 못합니다. 하지만 이러한 땀이 없었다면 저희는 다시 이곳으로 돌아오지 못했을 겁니다.
欢迎来到英雄联盟。
会变的是人和环境，不变的是游戏最后的胜利画面。
我明白。 这场游戏就是成王败寇，但是不到最后，我不会放弃对王冠的追逐。
这局游戏需要牺牲，无私奉献，去成就团队的胜利。
他还需要领袖，不管遇到什么困难，都和同伴一起扛下去。
是我最喜欢的玩具。
LPL 需要年轻的力量，是时候让我们来接管比赛了。
想成为这场游戏的主角吗？打败我吧！我们的时代还远没有结束。
Choo choo, the train has pulled into its final destination at Chengdu. And while OMG might be welcoming back a teammate with open arms and smiles, SMLZ is far from doing the same, as this is the last stop on the Rogue Warriors Revenge Tour. Welcome back to the LPL, everyone, for our final day of cross-conference play. I'm Dom, this is Raz, and we have got some awesome League of Legends planned for you today. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you for asking. Not only was, of course, the last stop of the Revenge train, it's also the last stop in cross-conference.
And, of course, as we get closer to playoffs, we know EU has just locked in their final team, but we've still got to do our own. We've got a few more weeks of play left, so let's bring up the standings and show you who's currently looking to be contenders. Though nothing has been locked in yet, we're starting to get close, Raz.
Yes, we are. And I know we're talking about Rogue Warriors coming in today. They're looking incredibly strong, along with Invictus Gaming, two teams that look like they are the two best teams in the league.
And, of course, on the other side, you've got the likes of Snake in the Snake Pit. They're going to be putting on a game later today against Royal Never Give Up. But so far, that East Conference is absolutely the beast.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot more solidified when Rogue Warriors were able to take down Snake with incredible ease alongside SMLZ, who were able to take MVPs for himself, and Invictus Gaming taking the win against WE handily. So this week was the week of rivalries in a lot of cases, and it was the week of the East coming up ahead.
Yeah, now we get a chance to see some of those rivalries in action. Our first game of the day coming up in just a few minutes from Chengdu is OMG versus Rogue Warriors. SMLZ, previously the AD carry of OMG, against his former team.
Yeah, and you know what? OMG had an identity crisis throughout the split, still do. It's because the team they're facing stole their identity. SMLZ is now on Rogue Warriors, and a lot of what Rogue Warriors make Rogue Warriors is literally just SMLZ.
Yeah, and it's working out so well for them. Of course, after that, we've got RNG playing Snake in Chongqing, but we're still here holding down the home base in Shanghai, coming at you live. So that's going to be coming out a little bit later today, but first, let's get into this first matchup, because Rogue Warriors versus OMG, SMLZ, it is the name of the game. The final stop on the Revenge Tour. Every single member of Rogue Warriors has gotten revenge against their former team, Kahlua the exception, except for SMLZ. And here we can see the comparison. How did he do now? How's he doing now versus how he did with them?
Yeah, I mean, this split, even even though the last split looked incredible for SMLZ. He was making things happen in the spring split, making things happen in the summer split, goes to Rogue Warriors, and he becomes an MVP in a lot of cases. Of course, you look towards the MVP, there's a lot of more games, of course, in this split. But if you look at the jump from 12th place to 2nd place, it's because when Rogue Warriors win, it's because SMLZ stomps in the laning phase, as you can see from the CS difference, from the damage percent of KDA, and in the later portions of the game with his Kog'Maw picks. So the man is just flying high.
It just speaks to how Rogue Warriors, you know, they were a team of misfits that have come together to become something incredibly powerful. They complement each other's styles so well. It's not just SMLZ showing up and doing things that he didn't do on OMG. We're seeing Doinby getting to play his supportive style mid laner. We're seeing Flawless absolutely popping off in the jungle.
Yeah, and that's what we expected when Rogue Warriors first became a team. It looks like they were structured specifically to get SMLZ to the later portions of the game, and if it did, then you see, of course, the Karma picks for Doinby, Lulu as well coming through. They complement that late game style so well. Flawless was supposed to be that highly active jungler. They didn't start so hot in week 1, week 2, but then when they kept on rolling, got a lot more cohesive as a team because they were a lot of fresh faces in terms of like dealing with each other. They kept stomping. So and now this team is big.
If my memory doesn't deceive me, Raz, is Flawless not your #1 jungler in the league right now on the Raz's jungle tier list?
Oh, on the Rezoplasm week 7? Yeah, he is.
Oh boy.
He's first place, and he's going up against World 6, who didn't even place, because OMG as a team have been fumbling in terms of picking up junglers. They've had 3 junglers in their team. They've been cycling them through, and they've all haven't been performing, which is really unfortunate for World 6 because last split, the year before, he was looking good, and he just kind of fell off.
That said, they seem to have found some consistency, at least with World 6. The only problem is that consistency hasn't found them success. Of course, just a few days ago, they played against RNG, and how would you describe that series, Rez?
I mean, it was supposed to be a Rocky montage, but if we revisit what Rocky was and we just have the ending be him getting blood splattered on the floor,
just beaten up,
then you're like, what's the point of this movie? And that's what I was thinking. I was like, I was getting hyped up for OMG. I was getting hyped up saying, you know what, they're starting to look good in their team fighting style, and then it went up against RNG, it didn't happen.
Yeah, and you can already see the lineup now for OMG. It's Xiang, World 6, Icon, Chelly, and 5. All 4 of them, with the exception of Chelly, former teammates of SMLZ, now facing across from him.
And Chelly was supposed to fill those shoes, but now here are the big shoes in Rogue Warriors. Mouse in the top lane, Flawless in the jungle, Doinby rounding out mid lane, and of course the bottom lane of SMLZ and Killua. And I was talking about filling those shoes because SMLZ left a massive, I would say, dent in the floor.
Oh yeah.
Big shoes, probably steel plated, and then Chelly has to join that team and be able to fill that role, and technically they tried to begin with, bringing him that style, and he wasn't really a problem. It's just so much that the team itself didn't know what style they wanted to play towards. They tried Icon. They tried to all in on the mid lane, but not only were they slow to get towards and play towards the meta, they would still try the Kassadin LeBlanc, and it just kind of fell flat, especially when he was ahead. Now they're kind of going towards the meta, but it's too little, too late, and they're still falling behind in lane.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, that team fight style that they absolutely got shellacked in against the likes of RNG, they're going up against Rogue Warriors, who at this point basically epitomize that style. They want to group up. They want to group as 5 and tear you apart. If RNG was a Goliath, then Rogue Warriors are titans.
Yes, they are. And I feel like the only questions we've had about if their team fight style, Rogue Warriors, is if they can get to that point, because Flawless was supposed to be that early game's hit. He became that hit.
Yeah.
So now you have to hit Flawless before you get to their team fighting. So that's what I want OMG to do in this game. I want them to find a way to stop Flawless's growth in the early game.
Well, we'll have to see if 5 and the rest of OMG can do that. But now let's hear from 5 on playing against his former AD carry.
接下来我们会在主场迎战 RW。 然后司马的话，现在在 RW 的发挥也很亮眼嘛，然后他们的成绩也很好，然后希望的话也希望他以后能发挥得更稳定，然后希望他们带领他们队伍取得更好的成绩。
Is 5 living under a rock or something? It seems like he doesn't understand that Rogue Warriors are dubbed as the revenge team, and SMLZ is coming to his home arena to seek his revenge or extract his revenge.
That was the most subdued interview that I have ever seen. It does seem like 5 wants to be with his old AD carry in SMLZ. He's like, I hope he can carry his team and doing well. 5, He's playing you today.
Yeah, they're about to go up against OMG at OMG's home arena. And we were talking about the bottom lane quite recently whenever we got to watch Rogue Warriors play, because besides the 4 members on the top side of the map, their newest player is going to be their support, which is their rookie in Killua. Killua's been playing really well and working well with SMLZ in the bottom lane.
And all of us agree that he might be the best mechanical support that we've seen this split. Formerly from the team YN, picked up as a rookie from Rogue Warriors, doing very well with SMLZ, especially on the communication point, because this guy is known for not talking much, and we actually think that Killua probably doesn't talk with him either, but he understands him.
Which is kind of good for Rogue Warriors, because you see how they draft around SMLZ and try to protect him, especially when Doinby is going to be the most vocal member on that team. They can work around that quite efficiently.
Yeah, and that's the big improvement we've seen from SMLZ's play. We just saw the stats right there. The biggest thing to notice is that his early game stats have gone up significantly. Now he has a good jungler to play around him, and his damage percent stats have also gone up because he has that protection from Doinby.
Whereas for the side of OMG, it's been a rough season for them so far. I mean, they've only been able to pick up 3 victories. They've looked incredibly shaky, even after acquiring their new home arena in Chengdu. But since then, still, we haven't seen many improvements from the OMG squad.
There's problems all over this team, basically. The jungler is a rotating door. Nobody knows who's going to actually play. And the AD carry spot has been very, very weak in terms of the laning phase. We've just saw that against RNG. Uzi, he didn't get a single gank. He was up 20 CS as an Ezreal against a Varus. That's not a good matchup for the Ezreal, but he was still able to do it. And that really warped around the ban pick phase for OMG. They instantly panicked and went for Xayah Rakan the first second they could get, just to stabilize the lane. And we're going to have to see if that trend continues against such good laners in SMLZ and Killua.
Because we talked, I was talking to FLICKR, and FLICKR said there were steps for OMG to pick up the victory against RNG, which was to acquire tempo in the mid lane, acquire that mid lane priority, and work with the jungler and make sure that they stay even in the bottom lane. Against Rogue Warriors, it seems like that's an easier task to do against Doinby, because Doinby just wants to equalize you in the mid lane.
Yeah, that is the only solace I see OMG having against Rogue Warriors. Against their series in RNG, it really started to collapse from the mid lane. However, Doinby will allow you more slack. He will go towards the Karmas and kind of the Lulus and give you an easier laning phase.
Let's see what he's going to be pulling out here today for Rogue Warriors going against OMG. Match number 1, picks and bans. Tom Kench, Caitlyn, as well as Karma, the 3 bans that come out from OMG. Whereas we see Swain, Galio, and Rakan being banned out by Rogue Warriors. Sion left up and available.
So these are really interesting draft phase. Both teams are going after respect picks. They're basically taking away the most played champion from like each of the positions right there. It's not a coherent ban phase against a single composition. It's taking away what individual player is strong at.
And Icon locks in Rise as his mid lane champion of choice for this matchup. Could be flexed to Siyoung in the top lane. Rogue Warriors settle for their support right off the bat. Alistar gets locked in.
Oh, and we know this is Rogue Warriors setting up for a very strong 3v3 in the bottom lane. We've said Flawless is good on Lee Sin. He should be even more scarier on Olaf in 8.4.
Let's see what he does go for the lock-in here, because we mentioned when Sion was starting to become a popular pick, it could be a Mouse champion at the top side of the map. It's even a Doinby champion in the mid lane, and neither team has really prioritized that pick just yet. Olaf was the jungler of choice for Rogue Warriors.
That's a rather interesting thing. So we haven't really seen Icon go for the Sion yet. He's still trying to play out his style of the game, which is more of these damage carry threats for his team. And I can understand that. They don't have very good contribution out of Chelly, so they need to stabilize their damage by forcing Icon onto something that does bring the deeps later.
Well, World 6 will be locking in Sejuani and paired up with the Braum combo in the bottom lane for 5. These 2 champions are often picked together, and 2 very strong tanky frontline members of the team.
This is OMG stepping up to the challenge. They want to challenge the 3v3 in the bot lane. They don't want to be a cakewalk for Rogue Warriors.
And there it is. Sion gets locked in for Rogue Warriors. Could still be a top lane or a mid lane pick. We'll have to see where Rogue Warriors decides to flex the champion towards.
Well, what OMG could possibly do is still go for a more supportive pick in the mid lane and flex the Rise towards the top lane. But, you know, in terms of their draft phase, this is not what they've done, and the Sion mid lane is just so powerful. It's warping around 8.4 completely. If you look at LCK drafts, there's 2 champions they do not let through, and that is Rise and Xayah. But over here in LPL, we're a bit more willing to experiment.
Well, a couple of the top teams like EDG have defaulted to just banning out the champion. The one time EDG decided not to was when RNG pick it up and throw it into the mid lane and dominate them in match 3. But for the bans for Rogue Warriors, splitting their bans between top lane as well as AD Carry, Ezreal and Na are their final 2 bans in the draft phase.
This is so brutal because basically what Rogue Warriors is saying is that we want to kill Chelly over and over again. We're not going to put him on champions that can escape. If he goes for the Tristana, there's a lot of good lanes that go into that as well. So they're putting a lot of pressure here on Chelly.
Well, let's see what Chelly decides to pick up, because there haven't been too many AD carry bans besides the Caitlyn as well as the Ezreal. Rogue Warriors get first pick here. OMG also split up their last 2 bans, with a Cassiopeia and Cho'Gath being taken off the table. Varus gets locked in for SMLZ.
Ooh, so we're still looking at the top side and the AD carry for OMG right here. Tristana has been a pick that's been gaining a lot of attention. It's a hyper carry where you don't need to go aggressive in lane. However, it's still very dangerous to run in this type of scenario. There are a lot of things that can just kind of stop your CC jumps away. Alistar can stop you mid-air, and Olaf and Varus, both of those picks will punish you very hard in lane. So basically, Chelly is just looking for a late game out right here.
Tristana is incredibly strong in the current meta, but Varus is still known as the champion that has one of the highest lane priorities at the moment. So we'll have to see how Chelly's able to escape the laning phase. Is backed up by Braum. Very passive support and can go aggressive at times. OMG still looking for a top lane pick. Now what kind of signal if Rogue Warriors decide to flex this Sion pick or not? Gangplank gets locked in, forcing on the top lane. Who is playing the Sion here?
Ooh, this is a difficult call. I would say the mid lane mainly. The Vladimir does have a harder time in terms of the pure matchup against the Ryze. So I do expect the Sion in the mid lane, and that will also augment their style of going for the bot lane ganks. This is what they want to do. They want to kill bot lane over and over again. This is what you pick the Olaf for.
They can still swap it around. There's still some time, but you have to assume it's going to be a Vladimir in the top lane with Sion in the mid lane for Doinby. And this is because of Doinby's champion pool. We know that he can play the likes of Galio, goes towards the Karma as well as Lulu as well. Very supportive, trying to make sure he can be the facilitator for his team. As soon as Sion became incredibly popular in the top lane and started flexing to the mid lane, he was the first mid laner we looked towards and said, this is probably going to be the man that picks up Sion mid lane more often than not.
Definitely. It's his style of play, and this is what 8.4 has been about. If you need your damage from your mid lane, then I would consider it nerf for your team. But if you're willing to play supportive champions like Galio, Karma, and Sion, then it's a huge boon.
Which is really curious, because 8.4 we said, you know, it boosts the synergy between a jungler as well as a mid laner, allowing them to be a bit more aggressive. But at the same time, it boosts playstyles like Rogue Warriors, who want to sit back and relax and pick more of utility-based mid lane champions as well.
Yeah, and if you look at this draft, this is why Rogue Warriors is so dangerous, because SMLZ, he can go towards his hyper carries in the Jinx, Tristana, Caitlyn, and Kog'Maw, but he can also play to punish your lane. That has been the big difference this split from SMLZ compared to his previous splits. In the previous splits, he didn't really have the jungler to do it, but now he does.
Putting Mouse on a carry champion as well, we know that he can play both tanks and carries, but historically he was known as the tank main, the man that you can rely to be a rock on the top side of the map. So he's going to be the one that's going to be trying to dish out more damage in this match.
And teams have really shied away from their previous strategy of trying to punish Mouse. That was the draft before people realized that, hey, wait a minute, Flawless and SMLZ will both kill you in the late game regardless of how Mouse does. And in this matchup, it's much better in 8.4. Gangplank has been significantly nerfed. It does not have to stay in mana sustain.
But it's still a late game carry champion, and Sion will be trying to do just that against Rogue Warriors in his home arena at Chengdu. OMG are looking to try and take down Rogue Warriors, whereas SMLZ, this is match number 1 of a best-of-3 series. He will be looking to try and extract some revenge from his former team, but we are going to jump onto the Rift shortly. Game number 1, OMG taking on Rogue Warriors.
Let's hear it from the crowd.
Did they turn down the microphone at the end there? That's a bit cheeky, Clement.
Yeah, I did feel there was a lot of uncertainty in the crowd. Let's just put that mildly.
Might be OMG's home arena, but Rogue Warriors are a really respected team at the moment, and they started the split really strong. They dropped a couple of games in there, 1-2 Invictus Gaming. But since then, they've become one of the top teams. In fact, you said it yourself, that this is probably going to be one of the semi-finalists that we'll see in the spring split of the LPL.
Yep, and Frost Curran simply put it out on Twitter. She thinks that they are the best team currently in the LPL. She even put them over IG. Now, I'm a bit more hesitant to do that. I still think IG have a better chance at MSI, but Rogue Warriors is the cleanest team in the LPL so far.
They have such a different playstyle from everyone else. We talk about it all the time. This matchup, however, is a very LPL-esque draft. There's nothing too fancy about it. Sion mid lane, although is considered more of a niche pick, it's become very popular. It's become a staple in the mid lane as well. So although it caters towards their playstyle, this is one of the few times we actually see Rogue Warriors play away from purely protect the SMLZ.
Yeah, this is a very different draft idea. What they're saying right now is if you're running Sion and Varus, you actually need to win pre-35 minutes. This is not a composition that gives you a lot of damage late game. So Rogue Warriors, instead of being on the defensive, will have to be on the offensive.
And even though we say that Rogue Warriors like to take it to the late game, they like to scale back up, they actually have the second fastest game time in the league at the moment. Playing incredibly quick, they're still able to close out games nice and easy. For the side of OMG, we've talked about their struggles this entire split, so I'm going to be looking towards them in this matchup because it is a top of the table against bottom of the table clash. How much improvements have they made, and can they make that late run for playoffs?
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to say. OMG is a team where we're not certain of their win conditions. So far, the only matches they've been able to win were through stomping their lanes, especially in the top lane, where Xiang has picked up a lot of solo kills. He was sitting on #1 for solo kills in the top laner for a long time before the Shy was able to dethrone him.
At the start of this match, Icon seemed like he was going to do fine in the matchup against Sion, but he's been pushed out of lane now, looking into the top lane. Mouse picked up the Unsealed Spellbook on Vladimir. He's gone for Sorcery second as well.
And still goes for the Gathering Storm, which is rather interesting. Picking up a bit more late game insurance in that case. We're seeing the early roam, 4-man against 2.
Yeah, double rotate coming out from both Doinby as well as Flawless. They were able to knock Icon out of the lane. Flawless shows 5, takes a bit of damage. Still waiting for their bottom lane to push in the wave first, but they are going for a full-on tower dive. Exhausted down onto Kulua. He's tanking up the turret. Still has flash available. Doesn't need to use it. He gets first blood as well.
That was perfect tanking and a perfect execution right there. OMG, Icon was the one that came up with the minion dematerializer push into the early roams, but he's getting it handed to him by Sion, who can do it even better.
Doesn't even have his own minion dematerializer. That's how oppressive Sion is in the lane, especially during the early levels. Able to push Rise back in. Doinby goes back to base, teleports back into the mid lane as well. Creates an advantage for SMLZ and Kalua in the bottom lane. This is a play that we see Rogue Warriors rinse and repeat against multiple teams.
Oh yeah, and it's only going to be worse because we already see Flawless with the Ionian boots. Now this means that his flash is going to come up much more faster, and he's going to try to punish that bot lane again and again. We should talk about how they started this, but let's watch this gank first.
Yeah, he's going for a gank from the top side. Mad Predator boots have already been picked up, so he's able to force a flash out of the gank plan.
Yep, the key things to notice about the first gank in the bot lane is that Rogue Warriors did not give a leash towards their own jungle. Olaf is perfectly happy starting his jungle by himself, and he was able to use the second rotation and simply go bot lane with the pushing advantage and corner them in.
Not only does he push Xiang out of lane, burns his slash, but also delays his time to getting back into the matchup. Teleport is going to be used by him to get back into the lane. Mouse still has Unsealed Spellbook, can swap his own. Puts a lot of pressure on the map at the moment. Xiang has been one of the few players that really looks to try and carry as hard as he can. Still #1 is
yeah, excuse me. I guess he must have picked up some of the solo kills against RNG, so he's still sitting at #1 over the Shy. However, that teleport from him was extremely dangerous. He was basically banking on the fact that Rogue Warriors probably didn't know where World 6 was, because if he just came straight back, there was actually a chance that Rogue Warrior could have killed him underneath tower.
We'll have to see what Rogue Warriors decide to do next, because you know they like to play towards the bottom side of the map. Doinby will start mid lane priority. They even have a very unique flanking ward right behind OMG's turret at the moment. No teleport is available for either Doinby or Mouse, however.
Yep. When we do see these wards, the things you have to think about is if the enemy support has Unsealed Spellbook, because that would typically be how the play would be executed.
But Xiao's in trouble. Flawless makes a return gank towards the top side of the map. Chains the axes. No flash available for Xiao. Blood Rush comes through. Flashes forward. Flawless picks up an easy kill to top lane.
Oh, and this is looking a bit too easy.
Oh, here comes the train. Can he drive it in the right direction? Vivacelli trying to get out there in time. Locking down Braum, just blowing summoner spells. And OMG will escape that gank.
Yeah, it does get another 2 summoners out of the bot lane from OMG, and this is the big power of Sion and why he's constantly being banned over in the LCK. He has too much wave clear in the mid lane. At level 5, a full rotation will clear the entire wave, and at level 7, he only needs his E and Q to clear the entire wave.
This is not against, you know, a mid lane champion that can't clear out waves. This is against Rise, who is known to have a decent amount of wave clear, especially moving into the late game. Shelly's actually taking a bit of damage here. SMLZ is going to go for a good trade. OMG trying to respond in kind. Look at SLZ just move forward. He's more than happy to take these aggressive trades.
They're too far ahead in lane, and he's also sitting on his heel, so he definitely knows he can push his advantage very far here. And look at that coordination with Flawless. He's coming back again.
He was spotted out by a control ward, but has he gotten here in time? Yes, he has. Killua jumps in, instantly locks down Chelly, takes a bit of damage from the turret, but he's more than okay to pick up that kill. Flawless now going to see if he can try and chase down 5. Has Ragnarok available, pops it, gets exhausted, doesn't matter. World 6 is there to back up his support, but again, Rogue Warriors get more advantages in the bottom lane.
And that was still a great trade overall for Rogue Warriors.
Oh,
however,
here he comes. The Big Daddy Pirates trying to get down to the bottom lane. World 6 flashes forward. Killua with a Hex Tech flash over the wall to get back to safety. Heal gets used by SMLZ. Follow shouts Brahmasya as he tries to run away. And although OMG try to make the proactive play, Rogue Warriors get out alive.
And they get out with expending so much of OMG's resources. The Cannon Barrage was used from the top lane and also the teleport from Icon. This means that on the next wave, there's no cavalry coming in for OMG's bot lane. My biggest issue here was that I feel like Rogue Warriors' game plan was very obvious from the get-go. They picked the Olaf, the Alistar, and the Varus, so that was just to punish the bot lane. However, there has been no response from OMG. World 6, he wasn't in position a single time for any of these tower dives.
And don't get me wrong, this is a good champion for CN to pick up in the top lane in Gangplank. Will allow him to scale, will allow him to be a big carry threat later in the match. Gangplank is well known not to be good at teleport ganks.
No.
He is known to be able to provide the assistance through his ultimate, but he needs time to set up his barrels and actually find a flank. And if he was on a different champion like a Maokai there, they could potentially have locked him down.
When we really started seeing the rise of Gangplank in the LPL, it was because he had kill combinations elsewhere on the map. The Malzahar, the Varus. But in this type of composition where you're only picking Gangplank to scale, you lose out on so much of his value. Where is he really going to assist with his Cannon Barrage on the map?
OMG do scale quite scarily though. It's a Ryze, Tristana, and a Gangplank with 2 beefy crowd control supports as their front line. So if they do get Rogue Warriors to the 30-40 minute mark, they could start to swing around these fights. Rogue Warriors are doing a good job of making sure they constantly keep the pressure against OMG.
That is true, but things aren't looking so good for Rogue Warriors right now. Their bot lane is being zoned out and sitting in the bot lane without any summoners. Look at where Flawless is. Unless World 6 can come up and assist with this wave, there's no way they're going to be able to CS.
Hextech flash. Where's Killua going? Flashes over, just says, hello guys. I'm an Alistar. Please be afraid of me.
I love how that only has a 20-second cooldown. He can do that over and over again. Look at where World 6 is. He still doesn't see this.
Rogue Warriors are going for another dive on the bottom side of the map. That turret's already incredibly low. Floor's going to miss the first axe. Doesn't matter because 5's going to get crowd controlled underneath the turret there. Teleport's going to come out from Mouse as well. Xiang's is almost back off of cooldown, but it's too little too late. They don't even need Sion. They don't even need Vladimir. You know what? The 3 members of Rogue Warriors, they'll do it themselves.
And the timing was beautiful. They knew that 5 was about to hit 6 and have his ultimate, so they decided to push out the wave early and then all in on this wave. So it's very smart control, very good coordination coming out from Rogue Warriors.
Top side of the map, Mouse has been able to keep the pirate locked underneath the turret. However, World 6 tries to go for a gank SLZ. They'll still be able to get that locked down, or will they? Because Killua's going to stop them. He's still alive. OMG can't chase forward, and that sidestep from SMLZ was beautiful.
That looks so casual. He doesn't even have boots. He didn't use any summoners, not heal. He just casually walked towards the top side.
Exactly what we expect from him. Cool, calm, collected as SMLZ. There's no emotions from this robot.
And I want to see if SMLZ smiles after today's games.
Oh, that's assuming he picks up a victory there, Clement.
Yeah, but, you know, we can wonder. We can wonder. I was really nervous today. I felt that the world could end if we saw SMLZ smile. That's one of the axioms that hold LPL together. Uzi should not win a title, and SMLZ should not smile.
Oh, no.
If that goes away, I don't know what happens in the world.
Yeah, poor Hawkeye is going to be bald forever then by that analogy. But there's a gank coming out from OMG in the bottom lane. Rollwalk comes through. Doinby's trying to charge down as well. Ultimate comes out from Xiang. Will lock them down underneath the turret. Doinby's all the way in the flanks, but Killua is the main target at the moment, taking a lot of damage on Alistar. Icon flashes forward. Does he have the remaining damage to deal it? Trying to chase him down. Killua's still alive. Chelly gets that last tick of damage as a flash forward comes out from Doinby. Flawless is charging in as well. What does he flash over that wall? No, he does not. 5 is still happy and safe. OMG make a proactive play in the bottom lane. They pick up 2 kills.
Yeah, that's a great pressure relief for their bot lane right there. And most importantly, Tristana is able to pick up a kill and an assist to kind of equalize the CS that she's been bleeding out in the bot lane so far. However, OMG, they're not really able to push the game pacing forward. It's just going to allow them to stall.
And in fact, Flawless has been able to catch out World 6 out of his own jungle. That's a flash forward as well as now Ragnarok gets Bromacia time! World 6 gets solo killed by Flawless!
Really a lot of aggression coming out from Flawless, chopping down the enemy jungler right there. You know, I've actually checked what that skin is called in the Tencent server. It's called the Iron Forger. So he's basically chopping iron at that point.
The Iron Forger?
Yeah, 打铁的.
Goodness. Killua now, Hex flashing over the wall, looking to lock down Icon in the mid lane. SMLZ is here, trying to dish out as much damage as he can. Alistar pops the ultimate to negate a lot of that tower damage. Icon wants to try and turn this one back around. That ultimate is going to run out shortly for Alistar, but doesn't quite have enough to lock him down.
Rogue Warriors really pushing the tempo of the game so fast. This is a composition where they do need to be the aggressive ones. They want to finish the game before 35 minutes, and they're doing so well.
And yes, they're playing well as a team at the moment. They're all over the map, but the person that's been the catalyst behind all this has definitely been Flawless. 100% kill participation at the moment. He has 5 of those kills as well. He looks unstoppable right now. Exhaust even being used onto this Olaf. Killua gets a nice double pulverize there. Doimi's going to try and charge into the back lines. First kill picked up by OMG, but oh no, World 6, you can't miss ultimates like that because now Chelly is in trouble. Desperately trying to run away from this onslaught of Rogue Warriors members. Mouse gets a kill for himself.
Rogue Warriors does not see towers on the map right now. They can just walk simply behind it. Their front line is so tanking at this point. Flawless already has his Cinderall complete and also the Sign with his first item.
6,000 gold lead for Rogue Warriors just 13 minutes into this match. And we've seen some proactive plays from OMG. We've seen how they're trying to piece their team composition together, but it's just not working out. Rogue Warriors are everywhere.
Yeah, and it all stems from OMG's lack of ability to adapt to this patch. If you're going to play something scaling, you cannot let the Scion go. It's too much of a threat. In the LCK this week, we've seen it been banned in every single match. You do not let Scion out.
Doiby's even gone straight for the Abyssal Mask and goes for Ninja Tabbies as well. Top side map, Rogue Warriors Mouse. He's picked up 2 items, including the new Leandri's Torment. And a full tanky Olaf being played here by Flawless. Righteous Doiby picked up next. Doiby, he has a flank here. OMG did not know that the train conductor was right behind them. World 6 is trying to run away from this team fight. Fire's been separated from his team as well. Damage is enough. Flawless gets that kill, maintaining. Oh no, he just dropped one. Doesn't quite have 100% kill participation there, but still able to pick up more picks for Rogue Warriors.
Yeah, this is kind of the issues that exist in 8.4. It's much harder to defend your own jungle. Wards overall have gone down by 12%. You see a lot less of the map, and things like that happen when you don't have good vision. You know, Doimpy was just hanging out in the jungle. He didn't reset at all.
The entire time Charlie was on the bottom side of the map, pushing for his team. Able to shove a wave into the turret here. SMLZ jumps down, collects that. He has a 30 CS lead for himself ahead of Chelly at the moment. And we've seen OMG put in World 6 as an AD carry over Chelly when we know that when Chelly was at the venue as well. It seems like these are the 2 positions where OMG are having a lot of struggles at the moment in the AD carry and jungle position.
I believe it was Jeko that did play for Chelly, but it still goes to the point that both their jungler and AD carry have not really been showing up on this split.
This match is not looking good for them either. It's a 7,000 gold lead for Rogue Warriors.
And the tempo from Rogue Warriors is just beautiful. They understand when they can do things on the map, and so what they're doing right now is if the team doesn't manage to take down a tower, if it's only a kill or a push-up or a bit of damage onto the tower, that doesn't really count as a tempo lead. You have not lost anything on the map so far.
And although Rogue Warriors have been good at doing just that, how do OMG get back into this match? Because we know they've got a scaling composition. They can wait till 30-40 minutes. They can potentially take a fight against Rogue Warriors. We know that they can be proactive. We saw all 5 members move down into the bottom lane with a Gangplank ultimate to try and get 2 picks for themselves. But how exactly do they stabilize the game against Rogue Warriors who are just all over the map? Especially now that Flawless has Righteous Glory picked up.
So there's 2 things you really need to think about. The first one is which side lane can really hold out for OMG, and that answer would probably have to be Icon on his rise. And the second thing is how well can they use terrain, because they do have a lot of corridors where they would like to fight with that Braum ultimate and also with the Gangplank towers. So basically they want to tower around chokes, turtle around chokes and try to get Icon going so he can split push and hold out the game.
Rogue Warriors looking for another fight. Doinby actually trying to charge in. Had Kalua as well as Flawless looking to threaten the front and back lines. They use Rift Herald to take down mid lane in a turret. Infernal Dragon just spawned as well, so you can expect Rogue Warriors to try and make their way towards that objective. Doinby just teleports casually in the middle of nowhere towards the top side of the map.
That was so well done by Kalua. Just walks up and takes the ultimate right in front of the face, so allows Doinby to secure his objective in the top lane. Great trading there.
Almost a little bit disrespectful there, but he's able to protect that. The rest of Rogue Warriors move towards the Infernal Dragon. They pick up that objective for themselves.
It's so funny because usually in that type of a play, you would expect OMG to try to go in on the enemy team. It's like, all right, so we know your Scion isn't stopping and your Alistar is just stunned. We should go in right there. But Rogue Warriors are so far ahead at that point. OMG just, they can't even answer that.
And this is sub 20 minutes into the match coming. Baron hasn't even spawned. And we'll get to watch Rogue Warriors play around that objective once it does. OMG are going to be desperately trying to get as much vision control as they can and try and force a good fight against Rogue Warriors, but slowly this match is just spinning out of control.
Yeah, and OMG still need a lot of time to catch back up. You can see what they're doing right now. They're trying to funnel all of the resources back onto that Ryze. That Ryze has been in the bot lane. He hasn't been defending the mid. He's been trying to farm up. If he can stall out against Mouse, then that's pretty good news for OMG. That means that they have at least a lane where they can force Rogue Warriors to rotate more people to deal with him.
Mouse is 102 at the moment, and 20 CS up over his counterpart. Icon tries to get some damage onto the Vladimir over the wall, but that's all he's going to do with that trade. Yep. Another Ryze score has been picked up here though, Clement. Doinby's got one. I wouldn't be surprised if Kalua's building towards it next as well.
This is pretty funny. This is basically a pre-Baron win for them. So it's like, usually you would see a Banner of Command being picked up here and wait for the Banner minion to come down, but they're like, no, we don't need the Baron buff. We just want to run at you as fast as possible, as quickly as possible.
Well, hopefully Kalua gets one as well. He has part of the components. We'll keep track of that later on, but he's rotated towards the top side of the map with SMLZ. SMLZ has his Gwynsu's Rage Blade. He's going back to base, has not shopped for a while. Immediately picks up a Hurricane. Big item power spikes for Varus.
Yep, and this type of build is... a lot of times we will see SMLZ actually go for the triple crit build. Yep. Like, he actually likes building the IE on the Varus just for that late game oomph. But I actually think he can get away with going like full on hit this time around. His team is so far ahead.
Especially when he gets a Wit's End, that'll be able to take away some of the magic resistance that the team has. Mouse even has a Landry's picked up as well as the Abyssal Mask helping him out with extra magic damage. But that's one thing that OMG can breathe a sigh of relief, is that Olaf's the real physical damage deal on the team, and he's building Pure Tank. If they can hold out, maybe that might make the difference. But Rogue Warriors are going to look for another fight here. SMLZ whiffs the ultimate, World 6 is able to charge away. Blue buff gets stolen, Baron buff's going to spawn in the next 20 seconds as well.
And Rogue Warriors, they haven't been able to defend their own jungler, bleeding over a lot of gold over to, OMG haven't been able to defend their own jungler. Rogue Warriors just picking up a lot of this gold lead from the jungle camps.
20 minutes, Baron spawns, and he's right there throwing axes at the big purple worm. Mouse is going to try and help him out. OMG are grouped up in the mid lane at the moment. Their top lane, as well as mid lane, are running through the top side of the map, but everyone for Rogue Warriors is now collapsed. Ultimate comes out from Gangplank, trying to deter them from taking this one. Flawless is going to fall very low, but he gets so much attack speed when he's low on health. World 6, he's charged in. Can he do it? No, he can't. Flawless secures the Baron, and Rogue Warriors start a team fight. Icons in the back lines. There are low health bars on the side of Rogue Warriors. Can he put up the fight? Flawless is low, forced to flash away through the Ragnarok. Doinby is now trying to hold up the front lines. Mouse is trying to look for a flank on the back lines. Rogue Warriors desperately trying to disengage from this one. Icons looking to lock down. Doinby flashes forward, but he's steps on a honey fruit and slows him down. He can't root the Scion. Rogue Warriors get Baron to escape with all 5 members.
Oh, that was epic play from Rogue Warriors right there. Their front line played it so well, especially Doinby. He was trying to clock up the ramp on the right side, went over there with his ultimate immediately, and once that threat was dealt with, he then swapped over to the left side to hold Icon and World 6 out of the entire team fight. That was excellent body blocking from Doinby.
Great team fight work coming out from Rogue Warriors, and OMG, that was the perfect time for them coming. Yeah. That was the team fight for them to try and swing the game back to even and get some more control back in this matchup.
you could see Icon right there had a very good chance to go in on the backline of Rogue Warriors. But, however, Kahlua able to flash on him immediately and allowed Doinby enough time to make that rotation from the bottom side of the team fight to the top side.
And as we approach a 10,000 gold lead for Rogue Warriors, yes, it's going to be a righteous score picked up by Kahlua. Not just yet, though. However, the first banner of command is also complete. Flawless picked that one up.
This is basically a train composition, you know. They have their conductor in Doinby, and then they have a secondary unit in the Flawless, and they also have Kahlua, who has 2 flashes.
22 minutes into the match, the train is off the rails.
Yeah.
They've derailed, and it's in a good way for Rogue Warriors because OMG don't know how to stop this freight train. Thomas the Tank's on the top side of the map. He's going to chip away at this turret. OMG are grouping up to try and defend that. Doinby is still in the bottom. And Kahlua Hex Flash over the wall, knocks up 2, locking them down. SMLZ throws out his own ultimate as well. Big emo play coming out from Mouse, taking down 2 already. Flawless still wants some more of this action. Doinby's teleported towards the top side of the map. Chelly, Icon, and Sion, the 3 carries of the team, desperately trying to deter Rogue Warriors, but they're just too tanky. They deal no damage.
I love that. That was so nasty. He just Hex Flashed over the wall. You can't even predict that with your summoner timings, and they able to unload all of their CC instantly in the team fight.
You need vision to stop that flank coming out from Kahlua, but it doesn't matter. Rogue Warriors break the base, taking down 2 turrets and an inhibitor. Still 1 minute of Baron buff to work with.
OMG, they don't have enough damage to really stop any of the threats coming out from Rogue Warriors. They're able to walk right underneath their turret. Like, it doesn't even matter. Like, if you look at Doinby right now, he can tank up so well, even has the Gargoyle Stone Plate. He's there to deal with towers.
Kahlua getting a little caught out here, but Icon and 5 don't press the issue to try and catch out their support. My goodness, Inhibitor's already taken down Clement. It's a 12,000 gold lead for Rogue Warriors. At what point does OMG start waving the white flag and say, you know, we need to prep for game 2? Because this is not looking good. And moving into game 1, we already said it was not looking good.
Ooh, let's watch this first, though. Kahlua does Hex Flash over the wall, get 2 of their frontliners, and at this point, Rogue Warriors have enough damage to just go right through the front line. They disregard the tower and even go for more.
But again, with this gold lead, Rogue Warriors just need to execute the final push for a win here. OMG try to force a team fight. Flawless uses Ragnarok, disengages. Realmrock's trying to bring multiple members to the back line, but it's just 5! No! You've killed your support icon! 5 did not deserve to die that way! Rogue Warriors are now going to try and push for mid lane as well. Flawless is diving in towards the base. He wants to stop OMG from defending this turret.
That was a good attempt. They were at 5v4, so I think it was a right idea, but just too much damage coming out from Rogue Warriors. 5 not able to step off of the elevator in time. Gets sent to the 13th floor and into oblivion.
At least OMG tried to throw the Hail Mary pass. It does not connect, and Rogue Warriors get even more of an advantage. Now 15,000 gold ahead. Moving to the final inhibitor turret. Kahlua's just Hex Flashing for fun right now. Just jumping deeper into the base. Ultimate comes out from Gangplank trying to stop them. They have locked down Doinby. Decent damage under the side. Mouse is flashing. Chelly flashed away quite nicely. But SMLZ, he's been able to kill the turret. 5's going to go down. Emoplake does a lot of damage. A 2-for-2 trade at the moment as Icon's getting flashed on by SMLZ. Knockback comes out from Chelly. Big smack comes on that Chelly as well, knocking him down below half health. But Rogue Warriors going to take all the inhibitors down.
And here comes Flawless. He's still looking for more.
Oh no, the Madman's just charging the 3 people. Dies immediately for it, but has it bought enough time for Rogue Warriors? They're trying to take down Nexus turrets here.
No resistance coming out from OMG. However, they do manage to push back with the minion wave thinning out there. Like, I think Rogue Warriors, Doinby is just so good at playing in that frontline position. He knows that he might go down, but it doesn't really matter. They're too far ahead. He's willing to take one for the team, stand right back up, and then go in again. And if you watch that team fight right there, SMLZ on the bottom side was going 1v2 versus Chelly and Icon. Icon had to flash immediately out, and SMLZ followed that flash.
Normally, when you flash on top of a Rise, that's a death wish for an AD carry going into a 1-on-1. He was able to stand and deliver there. Picking up an Infinity Edge as his next item. Goes for the QSS first, so doesn't complete that. Still, again, he's one of those players. You give him an on-hit AD carry, he is going to weave crit and physical damage into that somehow.
Yeah, does like the crit a lot. Does like to go straight up against the backline of the enemy team. That's what the crit build is really good for. On hit build, you get a bit more damage because you do have percentile damage on the Varus. But if you're going for the crit build, you're so good against enemy bot lanes, enemy backlines. Excuse me.
Which is where you'll find SMLZ most of the time in the enemy backline with the support of his entire team protecting him, making sure he'll stay alive. Double super minions, And now pushing into the base of OMG, they have to put up their last stand. But it's 15,000 gold down. It's going to be incredibly difficult. Minion Dematerialize is just going to take away a couple of the banner commands. These turrets are already so low, and SMLZ gets free access to him. No response coming out from OMG. They lock down Flawless. Good damage on SMLZ. He's very low. Forced to use the QSS nice and early, but it doesn't matter. The front line for Rogue Warriors will do the job for him. Charging into the backlines, denying OMG access to their turrets. Nexus is going to be bare in a second. Mouse is still threatening the backline as well. Rogue Warriors are on top of the Nexus, and game one will go to Rogue Warriors.
That was such a clean game from Rogue Warriors, executing their ban pick draft expertly. They knew they wanted to focus on that bot lane, and that Olaf was the best Olaf we've seen so far in 8.4. Able to snowball the advantage so hard, ganked both the bot lane and the top lane very, very well. And this is the scary thing about Rogue Warriors. They have win conditions at the beginning of the game, and they also have win conditions at the end of the game with SMLZ.
A group of misfits with one rookie. We didn't expect too much from them. We said, you know, they're a group of big names. They have to make it or break, or they will break it. If they weren't going to do well this split, they were never going to do well, and they've done it. So far in this split, they've looked incredible, and it's not just from the likes of SMLZ or Doinby. Flawless is stepping up incredibly. Mouse is playing incredibly well on there. Unseen Whale, Killua in the bottom lane. He is a godlike support.
Yeah, there's so much mechanics coming out from him. We could see the Hex Flashes really securing the initiate behind that second top lane tower, securing them the game over there. And Rogue Warriors, they're just such a beautiful team to watch, making it a little bit too easy though. We did see no smiles on SMLZ yet.
Not yet. But he's still a match away from picking up his revenge against his former team. However, OMG also have the series to work with. They can try and bounce back and make it a 2-1 in their favor, but it seems like going into game 2, there's a lot that they need to change.
Yeah, they do have the right idea in picking a scaling team composition. They don't want to face the, they don't want to bet everything on going against Flawless. However, I do think there's a couple of draft picks that they need to take out of the equation. Putting Sion in there is pretty much a death wish for any composition that just wants to scale.
And that first pick as well, they could have taken away the Sion. Seems like they were not prioritizing that for top lane or mid lane in that matchup, whereas Rogue Warriors just got everything they wanted in that game.
Yes, they did. They had a very easy to execute strategy. You know, you can take away SMLZ's hyper scaling AD carries, but he's still good in the early game as well. This has been the big improvement of the player so far.
And he got help from not only Flawless, but as well as Doinby to access that early game advantage, and Flawless just dominated the map. With that, Rogue Warriors pick up game number 1. Let's send it over to our analyst to break it down.
Ha! We've Hex Flashed onto the desk.
Oh my god, you've done it.
he actually, I didn't tell him he was going to do that beforehand. But holy cow, Killua has Hex Flashed more times in that one single game than I have done in my entire solo queue career. That was a non-stop onslaught, Raz.
Yes, it was. And you know what? Hex Flash on Alistar is amazing. So you know what? Get in the rift and do it.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's the secret right there. But to break down what actually happened, OMG, it seemed like they came in with the right idea. They weren't coming in and just putting this as a wash. Their pick and ban showed that they picked for champion priority. Trouble was, they just didn't quite anticipate that Sion going third pick for Rogue Warriors.
Yeah, I'm not against the whole composition because I liked Ryze. Ryze is the best mid laner currently, and a lot of people will be like, wait a minute, Sion is fantastic. But Ryze in lane actually matches Sion quite well in terms of the shielding power, giving him proper skirmishes. You don't get completely outpushed in the lane, even though Sion pushes out everybody, as we saw in this game.
Yeah.
So Ryze is a fabulous champion. The Braum Sejuani combination is incredibly easy to use, and going bottom side of the map and just having stuns upon stun after stun. So I like the idea behind it, and so it really was an idea that they had to all in on, and they did not this game.
Yeah, that said, they were playing against Flawless's Olaf, who very early on set the pace for the idea of this game.
Yes, he did, and I want to start this off by saying we've seen a lot of Olaf clears. The Olaf clears primarily start with blue buff going the Grump as well, so you can get incredibly low. He started on the top side of the map, taking Raptors to get incredibly low, then goes to red buff, so he speeds up to the clear ridiculously quickly. 3 minutes and 20 seconds was the gank timing.
Yeah.
No lane is going to expect not only the Olaf, but a Sion to meet you in the bottom side of the map. So the dive was incredibly possible because a cannon wave hit you in the mid lane, so Sion found that window to leave the lane with an Olaf that had an incredibly fast clear going top to bottom. So that was an easy dive for them, and it just snowballed the game.
It absolutely did. I mean, Rogue Warriors were playing Mario Party down there. They just kept on roaming down and picking up stars off of that turret, picking up kills time and time again. And not only was it the bottom lane that was accelerating out of control with SMLZ of all people, who we already talked up, but top lane, flawless, ganking not once but twice immediately after that dive bottom. This guy is everywhere.
Yes, he is, and that just showcases proper communication for the team. The fact that Flawless recognized the top lane was gankable, that it didn't matter that Vladimir is inside of a wave. He just has to pull underneath, and he's able to get every single minion and champion inside of it. So the slow made it easy. The snowball is going to happen if you're getting axe upon axe upon axe. So great gank for him. And this is where I do focus on the jungle position quite a bit. Sure, Flawless had a phenomenal game, not only because of the bottom lane dive, but the fact that his ganks were consistently working because he has strong communication with his lanes. Communication on the wave control. Can I gank on this wave? Can you push up so I can lane gank? Because lane gank's the best way to do it. Lane's not going to catch you on it.
Yeah.
It's proper communication, recognizing that the bush is not warded. Meanwhile, none of that was happening on OMG.
Yeah, they were falling apart.
The Sejuani had no idea in being able to counter gank top lane or bottom lane. And honestly, there was just like when they actually finally dived bottom lane, which is a positive, right? OMG diving bottom lane was a positive, but the AD carry tanked the turret. That's basic communication of knowing who's going to tank it. Is it going to be your support or jungle? None of them did it. So it was Chelly that took 2 turret hits, so they had to get out of there, and one person died off it because Chelly's not going to join the fight.
Yeah, and it was the juxtaposition, I think, of that communication that was so starkly brought out in this game. When you watch Rogue Warriors escape from so many fights with just slivers of health, barely getting away, SMLZ casually sidestepping the Bola earlier on, and even this Baron take, as it spawns, OMG are ready to fight, but they just can't do it.
Strong control wards from Rogue Warriors in the blue side jungle, recognizing that OMG is going to be nowhere near to contest you, and when the moment it gets a little bit rough for Rogue Warriors in this team fight, recognizing they need to back away, the escape comes through, the tilt from Icon, recognizing he flashed on top of the slowing, honey fruit. So sadness from all of them.
Oh yeah.
That's the best thing about Rogue Warriors, is that Rogue Warriors, even when they make mistakes, they have strong enough communication to know how to get out of the situation. So across everybody, especially Killua, the Hex Flash and Killua.
Yeah.
He had a phenomenal game just because he was able to test his limits.
Yeah.
He had a team to back him up in every dive that he went for. So Rogue Warriors are super strong because of it. And it's OMG that has to learn a few things.
Well, as a result of that, Flawless will be taking our MVP for the likes of that game 1 against OMG. 9, 1, and 6. 94% kill participation, Raz.
Yes. Yes, he does have that kill. He was everywhere on the map. And it was just this team testing their limits, much like when RNG went up against OMG. Much like that, they were just saying, how much can we get away with? And they got away with a lot. They got a lot of kills for it.
They certainly did, and it absolutely worked out for them. That said, we've got to take a quick break. Rez, let's you and I Hex Flash to a quick 2-minute break.